What's up, everyone? This is Aya. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel, A Very Good Life. I was going to do this live, but F going live right now because things aren't working out how I want them to work out. And you guys will still get the message either way. And no one um, summoned me to read their charts personally anyway, like I asked you guys to. So for the next time, I do this because I want to do this once a month because you guys voted. Those of you who voted, thank you. To want videos or information about how to use your natal chart to get on the path of success. And when I started sitting down contemplating this, because honestly, when I'm reading people's astrology charts, this is really the main question. Success means to a goal, something that you're trying to go towards, something you're trying to attain. And everyone's trying to find success in whatever way they're looking for it in their life. And that could be like career, love, anything really. Children, travel, look at any area of your life. And that all of us would like to be successful in those ways. So that's the question I answer all the time. All right. But we're going to start off with Neptune. And I wanted to, sorry for the table shaking. I keep bumping into it. We're starting off with Neptune because if someone is in their um, Pisces, Neptune's 12th house type energy, and they have blockages in that area, then honestly, the rest of the chart will be dormant. Like if you are kind of hung upside down, like the hangman in the tarot deck, like it reminds me of Inanna going down into hell to conquer Erishkigal's realm, you know, and she ends up dying. If you're in the land of the dead while you're still alive and like caught up in addictions, caught up in pain, caught up in sorrow, then there's nothing else to talk about yet until you deal with those issues. So we're going to start off there. I'm actually like deleting my live that I had started because I'm not doing that anymore. And because plus I really want to show you guys do the Oracle deck or whatever that I made for you to download. And actually made a powdered incense blend using Neptunian flowers and herbs and resins that you can purchase on my site. Now, the download of the Oracle deck will be free. Um, I guess for the next couple of days since it's Sunday, for those of you who catch this soon. And then, I don't know, we'll see. Let's get started. Neptune. Neptune is about your highest dreams and ideals. Um, your inspirational ideas, your artistic ideas. Like I want to be a world famous singer. I want to be um a tap dancer. And usually these dreams start off in childhood where you see someone great. Like for me, it was listening to Whitney Houston. When I heard Whitney, her voice made me drop a tear at like when I was in preschool. I was like listening to, no, I think I was in kindergarten. I don't know. I was listening to like the greatest love of all, and I was like awestruck, all just like completely. My heart was open. It was a feeling like none other I ever felt in my life. It's that feeling of inspiration, that oneness with something, to where you feel like I love this. I'm in love. That's Neptune. I'm like completely enamored, and I want this all the time. I want this feeling all the time. I want to do this all the time. And it's kind of like a protection. That love, that inspiration is a protection from the pain and suffering that you're actually encountering while you are on a path to becoming that great singer or instrumentalist or athlete or writer or engineer or inventor, whatever it is that kind of caught you like by the grips at a young age, you know. And some people say they've never had that experience, but usually when I do trauma healing with people, I can resource that. Something you have that feeling at a certain point. You might have disassociated from it. Usually, um, during the process of like suffering and trauma, being traumatized, being abused in some way, shape, or form, depending upon we're going to look at the placements of Neptune in a chart. Depending upon where Neptune is what type of suffering you went through when it comes to your dreams and inspiration. Your suffering and pain might also be attached to your elation and ecstasy. And so when you want to stay away from the triggers and the pain, you're also staying away from the very things that bring you the most joy and creative ecstasy in your life as well. And so that's where the universe kind of uses that energy. I'm using my mouth like it doesn't work on here. It was on my tablet. Uses that energy to get you to heal and go in and transmute some energies. It's like the carrot on a stick. I'll show you because I made a oracle card to express that. All right. Where is Canva? Oh, they're still downloading for me. It's just the back page I wanted. Geez. So yeah, I made a oracle deck that you guys can download and print out yourself. Use some 300 DSM card stock. Let me look that up just to make sure. You can use like I made it in the size of like playing cards, right? And so if you got like some cards that people use for like wedding invitations or programs, let me just cancel that right now. Then you would be good to go. Why is it starting all the way over here? Okay, good. I don't know. It's not gonna allow me to um I want to make it bigger. You know what? I'm sorry, everybody. Maybe I should just be patient because I'm expecting for it to move faster than it actually is. And it's not making me happy. Oh, I see what's happening. I'm like annoyed with it all. And maybe it's picking up on that annoyance energy. And it's like, mm-mm. And I'm like, well, screw you too. Ugh. So we're gonna start off with Neptune and Aries, okay? That's the first card there. Now I'm looking up the card stock you should use. It's definitely a hard card stock that you should use. But as I'm looking it up, I'm going to talk. So we all know about Neptune. Well, Neptune in the 12th, well, Mars in the 12th house, or Neptune connected to Aries. That is a very foggy place, just like all the other placements, but it's one of the hardest placements to have because the fog that you're in um, is so painful because your soul identity is connected to other people, your environment, and your environment is abusive to your soul. That's really what that placement is about. You feeling like you should be able to do and be exactly who you are, express yourself exactly how you want, and not be stopped and not have anyone, you know, put control you or you want support, you want encouragement, all that Mars stuff that you would need in order to have the energy in order to move forward because Mars is about your forward movement. You doing, you doing your soul. You doing from the being of your soul. And with Mars and Neptune, for some reason, that comes to a screeching halt, and it's very painful for those people that have that placement. And they have to get through the fog, and there's a really deep healing process for them. Um, it's inertia, it's um, adrenal fatigue. And I'm not saying all the other placements don't experience this as well, but with this placement, it's really bad. It's like your energy feels like a drip coming from like one of those hospital drips. It's like you get a drop of energy at a time, and it's like your energy is like burning acid. It's awful, and all you can do, for the most part, is use escapism in order to cope. Escaping in your mind, like pretending like you are doing what you want to do. You think about doing what you want to do, but you're not actually moving. And so when you finally stop pretending and you actually want to get moving and you're like, look, my life really isn't going how I want. You stop pretending like it is. That's Neptune energies where you pretend, you escape, you lie to yourself, you lie to others. Um, you use coping mechanisms that are unsavory or unhealthy just so that you can survive psychologically, but you're really not living. So the lesson is to fight and to stand up for what you believe in. This is what the card says. Um, Fight and stand up for what you believe in doesn't go against spirit. So to fight and stand up for what you believe in is not going against God. It is a primitive right. The primitive and spiritual become one. You become a warrior, priest, priestess, standing up for your right to exist. Okay. We're going to move on to Neptune in the second house or Neptune connected to Taurus energy. um, which is about your values. Your ideal here would be I should have what I want when I want it, and everyone should share. And the lesson here is that there is a law of abundance, but also a law of resonance and balance. You get back what you put in. Not everyone wants to do the work, but everyone wants a piece of the pie. Working to get where you want to get instead of and, working to get where you want to get instead, or you will end up doing what you got to do instead of doing what you want to in order to survive and get your money. And so the lie that people tell themselves here is that, oh, since there's a law of abundance, then I'm abundant always, and I'm always going to have everything I need, and everyone around me understands the same thing I do. See, the foggy part of Neptune is that you assume that everyone is thinking like you or is like you, like because you share, other people share. That is not the case. I also want to point out that the herbs and flowers that I have on this card are Neptune herbs and flowers and trees. Most of the time, Neptune herbs will have a psychedelic type of effect to help you go into another state of consciousness because Neptune is about you rising in consciousness and learning to get out of the fog, learning to stop lying to yourself. That's another way of saying that. Learning to stop lying to yourself in these different ways because everyone has different combinations of these energies in their chart will assist you in getting on the path of success because success is very grounded energy. So you have to learn to combine your highest dreams with being practical. So it's not very practical to not take into consideration that there are people in the world that don't think like you and feel how you feel. But a lot of times there's a lot of rage associated because you're in a fog in this area, people have taken advantage. That's where the pain and suffering comes in and a broken heart comes in where you're like, dang, I have such a pure heart. I have such pure intention. And with Neptune, whatever placement you have Neptune, you usually really truly do have the best intentions. You're like a little kid, you don't know any better. And people think because you are offering it that, oh, okay, it's a free for all, you know. Um, let's keep going. The next card is Neptune and Gemini. The ideal in the fog here is I should be allowed to say whatever I want and everyone will accept it as gospel truth. Now, okay, when I'm writing this in short sentences because the card's small, but a lot of times, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you are speaking the gospel truth, Neptune, Gemini energy. Okay, that could be Mercury in the 12th house. That could be Neptune in the sixth, or I'm sorry, Neptune in the third house. You are here to be like a town crier, a truth teller, and you're speaking honestly from spirit. You're speaking from your soul. You don't know how to do nothing else. But nobody wants seems like they want to hear it or they hate you for it. They try to shut you down and make you just sit around and shoot the shit with them, gossip, and you end up like muddling your voice, talking about things that don't really interest you, and you aren't inspired by that. And so what you will have to do is find your audience, put yourself in a position like all these placements. You have to put yourself in a position where people want what it is that you are feeling inspired to give from spirit. The lesson here is that you have a message from heaven, and not everyone is ready to hear your message. You have to find a way to speak and surrender um, to who this message is for and how it is to be received. Just know you did your job. Like if you said what spirit asked you to say, you have to learn to detach from the message and detach from how people receive it. Okay. So at the bottom of these cards, I also have keywords that I haven't really read. Um, but if you get the cards, you will see them. So the next card is Neptune, and it's associated with the moon. A lot of times these people are very sad and they don't realize it, and they stay afloat by doing what anyone else would do, disassociating from their feelings. A lot of times they feel abandoned by their mom and they're really angry with their mother. But how many people are allowed to truly express that, without feeling guilty? Or sometimes these people do express their anger towards their mom, but they don't get down to the heart of why they're broken inside. And it's not until they get into relationships and they're like, man, I'm having such a hard time connecting with my emotions, or they may feel like very disconnected from their inner child, like they're going through the motions and not really showing people, showing up in the world for who they really are, or they feel like nobody knows them, you know, like you're surrounded by people, but nobody really knows who you really are. That part of you, that part of that person is hidden and in their subconscious mind, or they only really let it out in their imagination. This person's very psychic. Um, so the ideal in the fog here is that every woman should be the perfect mother and be able to read my mind without me ever telling them how I feel. So the how I approach the ideal in the fog is that, the from the angry part of when you're like frustrated with this energy and you're like, ugh, why can't everybody just get with my program? And well, this is the point of healing for you, where you realize, okay, something's got to change. Other people aren't going to change. I have to change, and it sucks. It's painful. It's hurtful, and and a lot of times with Neptune, it's stuff that's not even your fault. That's why it's like such a spiritual placement of pure forgiveness, because what are you really forgiving if you didn't do, what are you apologizing for if you didn't do anything wrong? Or you know what I'm saying? It's like it's very Pisces energy. It's like, well, I'm going to trust in God that there's a reason I went through this. There's a reason beyond my conscious understanding type of forgiveness, to where you give up the ghosts and you surrender. And we'll talk about that. So the lesson here is, I wrote, you are right. Your mother should have been there for you. Learning that she doesn't have to be, nor does anyone else, is a painful lesson. You are here. You are here to listen to the wounds of the goddess's children and allow them to cry on your bosom. Yeah, so you are here with a special mission to mother, to nurture, to be that mother. And this is a very tricky placement because I kind of have this placement. I have Neptune in my fourth house, um, conjunct Venus and Sagittarius, right? So I have a really deep ancient connection with the ancient mother, and I'm here to be that for like a church, like a religious temple type energy type, right? And it's a conundrum because I didn't have a mom. She's alive, but she's not a mom. She's broken into tiny pieces. And me having to mother myself while I mother other people, ooh, that's tough. I know. But it's doable. But it takes a lot of discipline. That's where my spiritual penance comes in, and my consciousness ascends, because in order for me to be who I'm supposed to be and to also get my needs met, I have to cling tighter and get closer and closer and closer to the core of my own inner being and connection to spirit, so that I can have something to give or something to offer. But I mean, honestly, most important is me. I didn't just jump out of bed and start doing this work. I took my time. I didn't really want or think that I was going to be doing anything like this. Honestly, like I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of came. And yeah, I spent like 10 years healing first though. Like please excuse me. uh-uh. No, no. I protect me. I love me. So yeah, that's my bit about that. The next is, of course, Neptune connected to Leo. So the ideal here is I deserve all the attention. I'm awesome and I deserve to be discovered and put in the spotlight. So these people experience abandonment when it comes to the father. They don't really get a lot of validation for how great and awesome they are. You know, they're looking for validation out in the world for like their ego gratification. But here is the death of the ego over, over. It's pain. This is a painful placement to where you also feel invisible, but in a different way than the moon. It's like you are trying to get people to put you in a position to be at the top, at the head of your game. And the fogginess is that you may not be in the right arena. Like instead of trying to be in the spotlight, you might have to work in the background and then, you know, be noticed in that way. Leo placement in Neptune, um, they really want to be famous a lot of times, but it seems like that door is closed in their face because they're not necessarily going to be famous maybe for the things that they're proud of. They might be famous for helping people heal childhood issues or wounds or telling their story or something like that. You know, they want to be famous and popular in a way that other people become famous and popular. They want to fit in. Like a lot of times Leo energy just wants to blend in and stand out at the same time. Be the cool popular kid that people like see. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying. So the lesson is being abandoned or let down by a father figure ruptures the ego. It's not up to everyone to notice what your father forsake. You have to be vulnerable. Shine a light on your weaknesses so that you are not living a life that lacks courage. Yeah, these people will tend to do everything but be who they really are because they don't feel proud of it. It's like if my father's not proud of me, how can I be proud of myself? Type of energy. You know, it's like um they're searching for they're trying to get people to be proud of them for a ego self, a false self that's not even really who they are. And thank God that, you know, eternal energy, the God is spirit never changes for us and bends for us because then there will be even more chaos. We think there's chaos now. But imagine if God gave us what we wanted, how we wanted it. No, 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 no. You have to surrender to what actually is and allow that energy to flow through you. Break. You have to allow yourself to break down, Leo Sun people. You have to allow your ego to be broken, your ego to be bruised, and to cry and sob. It's like, I don't feel wanted. I don't feel liked. I don't feel seen. I don't admit it. A lot of this healing and getting on the path of success with Neptune energy is admitting and expressing your brokenness and then surrendering it to spirit. That's very Neptune. Okay. So the next is Neptune in connection to Virgo energy, sixth house energy. The ideal in the fog is my service and sacrifice should be rewarded. I deserve the utmost respect for the care I give. And the lesson is give in service to the Lord, and you will never want for anything, not even validation from others. There is a time to serve and a time to be selfish. Place your service in spaces that are recognized for service. Personal relationships and family are more give and take. So if you have Virgo connected to the 12th house or Neptune energy at all, then you are like Mother Teresa. And honestly, nobody can really live up to that. Like you give and you give and you give, and it's like you're bleeding, giving to people, sacrificing yourself, listening to people. You're like, if somebody needs something, bereavement, you're like the bereavement ministry at church. You make sure that people get the healing. You're very compassionate, concerned that people get the healing that they need. And but then nobody looks out for you. That's scary. You feel alone a lot of times. It's you're trying to be perfect. Why? Why? You're trying to give perfectly. Most likely because nobody gave that to you. Nobody ever really served you, right? You learn that's a learned behavior. And so learning that you have to expect for people to give to you might make you feel guilty at first, but you can't be the only one giving in relationships. And that's kind of the same thing for Leo too, but it's on in a different way. Like the Leo Neptune energy is very generous because it's a power move. You know, it's like I'm the powerful one. I have a lot of talent, gifts, and money. I'm the star, the celebrity in the group, and I give the gifts type of energy. But Neptune and Virgo, and I'm not. You know what? Let me also say this: that people don't walk around thinking like this, like thinking that they're this way. I'm coming from such a raw perspective, like such a perspective that goes beyond what people think they're doing. You know, people, I'm not like that. Like, okay, you know, but if you really want to heal, you have to look at why things aren't working out for you. Something's not working. So something in the milk ain't clean. And so that's when you have to get more and more realer. I know that's not work. You have to get more, you have to become so raw and honest that it's painful. That is the only way you heal. Like you have to hit the truth right on the nail so much that it's like, ooh, okay, all right, okay, I am doing it. Because if you keep sugarcoating it and you allow, you know, yourself to have a mealy way of dealing with things, like not dealing with them, then you ain't gonna change and you're not gonna get to where you want to be. And we're here to ascend. I'm gonna move. Will it let me? Yay! Okay, next page. We're here to ascend, and the spirit is full of truth. The spirit realm is the truth. That's all there is for you there. And so, please try not, if you can, listen with a different ear, with expectation to maybe hear something that helps you heal. Because healing is actually kind of a bit like ouchy, like ooh, that's that spot. Yeah, that's the painful spot. Have you ever gotten a massage or reflexology and somebody hit one of the good kinks? It hurts so good. You know what I'm saying? Like when the truth is told, you know, depending upon where you're at in your process. I'm just saying that just in case, just in case some people are like offended, because I'm real raw. Because this is what helps people heal. I actually get results when people come to me. They get results. We get results. Okay. And so, and if I'm working with a person and I see that they're not actually here for results, I set them free. That's all I know how to do. So Neptune and Libra, this is codependency central. Now, all of the Neptune placements are codependency central, just to let you guys, because you're one. Neptune becomes one with whatever it is connected to, right? And so if you haven't found your independence, you are codependent for the most part. If you're not interdependent, if you haven't found a way to, like Neptune and Mars energy, stand up for your soul and what you believe in, and you're just going along to get along so that you're not abused, you're codependent, instead of being willing to fight. I mean, even physically fight. Like with Neptune and Mars energy, it's like really, it's real. It's like you got to be willing to call the cops on people or do what you got to do to stand up for yourself in this physical realm. That's a spiritual act as well, you know? And Neptune and Mars people are scared to stand up for themselves because they were abused anytime they tried to stand up for themselves. It's awful, awful things that we have to face. But when you do, there's freedom on the other side. Let's go. This is how you this is the path to success. All right. The ideal and fog for Neptune connected to the seventh house, in any way, shape, form, or fashion is hmm, you know what? I'm glad I caught that because I thought I wrote. I'll make it up right now. That's a copy and paste there. No, I did write that last night. It did not save. I remember now. My love is the best. I deserve to be loved in the same way I give it. And you're right about that. But you don't pick the right person. You don't check their credentials. You don't do a lot of vetting. You project your ideal of love onto people. Everyone should be as loving as me, but they're not. And so there goes the fog. And why would someone think that? It's a lot of times it's because when we've never had something, we put it on a pedestal. Say if you never had a mom, you never had a dad, and you never seen true love, then you daydream about it and you watch movies about it and you have this very high unrealistic idea, and then you actually get in relationships and those ideals are squashed and your heart's broken. Like when you, man, that's the painful part about Neptune. It's like your ideas are so high and so pure that you can't live up to it. This world doesn't live up to it. And we are so sorry. It's like, oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that you're like Pollyanna and you're like walking around, smelling the roses and someone sees that you're beautiful and lighthearted and young and ready for love and they just tell you what you want to hear. This is the issue here, but where people just kind of tell you what you want to hear without you investigating to see if they have the other things besides the gift of gab, you know. All right, so what's the lesson? Let me write that. I'm like, I wrote a whole paragraph last night. Dang, I don't like when that, but it happened. I went to read this thing and it's like, thought you had a friend. Waka waka waka. All right, lesson. You have to vet people. See, vetting people isn't romantic, right? That's not how the movies go. Like, not if you watch Love Jones, they met, they saw each other was cute, they went out to eat, they had fun, they danced, and they fucked. You know what I'm saying? It's like no, that's not. If you want a real long lasting, like you say you do, relationship, a true love, like you say you do, then you have to be willing to see the truth. That's not romance, dog. You have to be willing to do things in another way. Get your romance someplace else. Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself on vacation, not begrudgingly, you know. So the lesson is you have to vet people um point blank, and I can just leave that. Ah! And also, this is a very spiritual love that you're looking for between creator. That's what I wrote last night. Creator and the created. It's not the same as human love. With human love, we already talked about this enough. I'm gonna move on. Okay. All right. The next is Neptune and Scorpio. Now I can write a whole book about this. It's too much. Um, it's a lot of spiritual drama, a lot of sexual drama, a lot of self-hatred here, a lot of, well, fuck it, I'ma just fuck it. You know what I'm saying? you know, um, but people, like I said before, people don't know better until they're suffering. And then they go, that's because suffering is karma. It's a part of karma. It's like, ow, oh, that's painful. I can't do this. There's a numbness. The fog that you live with is kind of the numbness. So the ideal in the fog here is that everyone owes me respect and the resources I need. Everyone should be mature and handle their business. I'm a great lover, and I tried to combine a lot of things because, like I said, it's too many things for me to write in this little itty bitty space. And so here we have someone who probably most likely experienced some type of drama, torture, suffering, abuse, sexually, or was even exposed to sexual experiences at a young age, grow up too fast, take on a lot of responsibilities, not being appreciated for it, just have like a emotionally ratchet family, that doesn't take responsibility in some way, shape, or form. um, these people oftentimes don't get any encouragement. Actually, they'll get discouraged from being who they are and told that you ain't ever going to be shit. Like this type of ratchet. That's very ratchet. I can't stand it. It's too much. Like why? You know what I'm saying? Like why do that to somebody? And so because if you feel bad about yourself and you hate yourself, then you're going to act out in ways that aren't really considerate to your soul. And so here we have potential sex workers, um, and people who feel like they have to do what they gotta do in order to get where they want to be. And then you see them scratching, trying, But these people are have garnish a lot of energy and even can become super wealthy, make a lot of money, can be like kingpins, drug lords, or whatever in the underworld. Um, There'll come upon a time where they have to pay the price, and they'll either lose their soul or life completely and garnish a whole lot of karmic retribution energy, or they will change their life around and become like a movie retribution story. So the lesson here is respect is earned. Pay attention to how people are trying to help you evolve. You are not the only one with something to offer. Everyone wants to be respected. You may feel used and abused. Be sure that you aren't participating in that karma. Make sure you are equally yoked with sexual partners. And honestly, I can't tell these people nothing anyway, so I'm moving on. They probably ain't gonna listen to me no way. All right. Neptune and Capricorn. The ideal in the fog here is that I'm willing to. All right. um, I'm gonna press do not disturb. That was disturbing. I'm willing to risk it all to succeed. This will get rid of all of the pain of criticism and bullying. And the lesson here is that your rise to stardom is inspirational to all, but what did you do to yourself to get there? You will have to pay for all the negative self talk and learn to be kind to yourself. And not all success is worth damn near dying for. Your father needs to learn to love from his heart. These people really only feel loved if they succeed. They even feel like it's their universal like spiritual duty to succeed. And in these placements, like we were talking about, like becoming a sex worker and feeling like you don't have no other choice but to do that. These placements aren't logical. These are energies to where you're acting out on a spiritual level from being hurt and abused in a way to where you don't see any other, because that's the fogginess. So because when I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, that makes no sense to me. But it don't have to make sense to me. See, these people, it reminds me of like, say, like Lady Gaga, right? She has this willing to do anything, everything, to the point of beating her body, abusing herself. No. And so she or these people with these placements have to have a limit on what you're willing to do to to succeed. Okay? You're not a superhuman. You're human, but you're able, because you push yourself. See this, and this is the law of cause and effect. If you work hard, you will see some results. Okay, but if you treated yourself bad the whole time, then you may not have anybody, your own physical body, left to be with you after it's all said and done, or your mind might be. So then what was it worth? Next, I'm moving on. All right. Neptune and Sagittarius, I'm willing to be free at all costs. I hate to be attached and tied down by anything or anyone. The lesson here is that you are not exempt from the lessons you are destined to learn from being in relationships. You will travel far and wide, and your lessons will not escape you. You are your travels will teach you a great deal. You will go to holy lands. Yeah, these people try to travel away or get away from attachments from people, you know, and become so like enlightened, spiritual, or whatever. They want to meditate their way out of it, get away, but there they are everywhere they go. The karmic lessons don't leave, so they have to learn that, okay, it's okay to have a home and settle down. They don't have to live a gypsy life all the time. Like I said before, I have Neptune and Sagittarius, okay? I have done that, been there, done that. And so having a balance between having a home and taking care of business, because I literally for a long time didn't didn't want to have no bills, didn't want to have no attachments to nothing. I just wanted to be free. Like I had like a phobia of paying bills. I had an Obama phone. I didn't like having a car payment because I felt like everything was super constricting. So there was a point in my life, like when I became a CNA, that I purposely got a regular job, um, worked, came home. I was bored to death. My blood pressure really did go up. That was very stressful for me. Oh, that's hard. I did it though because I wanted to teach myself to sit down somewhere and just take care of business, handle responsibilities. All right. I have lots of stories. Neptune connected to Uranus, Aquarius energy. All right. Ideal and fall. Why can't anyone take a joke? Why can't everyone just be like, I'm the one, I'm the one people should be following. I love it. The lesson is one of the most ancient spiritual practices is detachment. Non-attachment is what you do, but it's lonely being a nonconformist. You may feel like people are at odds with you. When you stop being at odds with yourself, you will stop feeling like the odd man out, because Uranus is all about the oddity. Um, and also swift and sudden changes, meaning that, you move around and change friendship groups just like that. Nobody can really like keep a handle on you. You don't want people to. But you also feel like, people don't appreciate your um your weirdness. Like you feel like you're weird. You feel like individuality should be celebrated and not hated. And so that becomes like your message. And you're right, it should. But there are some things that you can do that are normal, like sit down and get to know someone for who they really are and not play mental games with people and think it's funny. Like most people, like the things that come easy to you, like being true to yourself, most people struggle with that. You don't have to like torture people with and make fun of the everyone else. Like, and that's really what's keeping you from having true friends, close friends. Everybody likes you, but you think everyone is stupid compared to you. And you know what? I'll give you that. You're right. People do need to grow when it comes to that. But you need to add a sprinkle, a little compassion, learn from um like Neptune connected to the moon, or Neptune connected to Venus, and learn to care more about the individual person, be more personable, and you won't feel so hated and so alone. It's really your fault. You don't think it is, but it's really your fault. Like if you added a little bit of love, you would be, you know, something, something to reckon with. Nobody could really mess with you on that. And I know that Neptune and Uranus goes through a whole lot. I mean, I'm not saying a lot of things like child molestation, because Uranus is also um, weird. We talk about being weird, like individual weird. No, we're talking about inappropriate weird sometimes, inappropriate behavior. So someone with Neptune and Uranus have experienced weirdness in a way that other people will never understand. And that's also what makes them feel like the odd man out. Like who wants to talk about these things out in public? Most people don't. Most of the time hear some of the things that they go through on like a forensics file documentary cult show or something, you know? And so I understand, but you can't, every person thinks their wounds are unique and special. Like they've been hurt the most. And so they deserve to like get their rocks off and act out a little. And the truth is that we've all got suffering and pain. It reminds me of Dream Girls. Effie, I'm thinking about that scene where they're telling Effie that like, you know what, we all got pain. You're not special. You can't just like take it out on everyone, you know. And she's like, I'm in pain. And she's like, they're like, Effie, we all got pain. It's a musical if you guys haven't seen it. They're singing this, they're yelling this it's in her face. um One of the pivotal moments in my healing process was when I read this article that told me in my face that I'm not special, that my pain and suffering isn't special. And hadn't realized that I was kind of putting my pain on a pedestal and separating myself from other people with it. You know, like I have been through a lot. Y'all can't touch me on how much I've been through. Like I don't know. I don't remember quite like the mindset. Um, but when I read that, I was like, shit. That means I just basically is saying that you gotta get to work if you want to succeed in life. You got to take the steps everyone else takes. You're not going to get a pass because you've been through this or that. You got to figure out a way to heal and get over it, basically. That's what I got out of that article. And that helped me take the steps even more to just be more down to earth and stop blaming everyone for my triggers. It's like, okay, I'm triggered because I've suffered a lot, I've been through a lot, but it's not everyone else's responsibility to baby me all the time and give me everything I want, what I need because I'm hurt. I have to figure it out. I have to figure it out. Neptune in the 12th house. Some of these cards I learned from doing this. I have to edit. I'm glad I did this like this. All right. If only the collective, this is the ideal in fog or just Pisces, Neptune energy in general. So you have Neptune in the 12th house or Neptune at home in Pisces. If only the collective were better to one another, the world would be at peace. I'm staying away from people. And the lesson here is that you can become so associated with the pain of this world that you don't have a life for yourself. It's okay to be empathetic and compassionate, but you must know that God has all under control and you are not the only one here on this planet that is here to make the difference. Continue to be the change. So, with all of these placements, everyone has the tendency to think that their pain is like the most um I skip so much. Why? Sorry, everyone. Dang it. No, don't go out. It's gonna go out. There we go. Just stay there, please. Dang. There, just stay right there. All right. Um, but even while you're healing, what creates a successful learning of lessons and ascension is being compassionate towards other people while you are healing, being understanding and loving towards other people while you are healing. Oof, that's hard. No. Um, and I say it's hard because, well, for me personally, it was because I was mad at everyone for not loving me, being there for me, especially when I had like my nervous breakdown and I saw how bad I had suffered and abused. That's how much disassociated I was from my pain. I was not connected to it at all. I hadn't cried since I was 13 years old, maybe 12, 13, something like that. I had held so much in. I didn't even know that my mom was a narcissist or that my boundaries were broken so bad. I was in pain. I was in shock. I was in tears. I was in turmoil. They could have locked me up, honey. I was a mess. And so no one in my friendship circle at that time, well, maybe one or two girls, really could relate to where I was at in my process. It's not that nobody had ever been through it. Because for me, I was like, I know y'all not acting like y'all ain't been through like y'all, you've been through this, you've been through that. And everybody's looking at me like, well, damn, like you ain't gotta put me out on Front Street. But I felt like I was on Front Street. I was laying my whole crucified heart out on the line, revealing everything about myself, and everyone sitting around looking at me like I was some like lifetime movie that they had never encountered before. And I was like a scientific project or whatever. I hated that shit. I was like, I know y'all fucking like you ain't gonna just leave me hanging out to dry. We about to do something special up there. Everybody. But I had to realize I had to realize that everybody wasn't where I'm at. And it's truly your own personal journey, your own personal pain, and your own personal process. And I had to shut up, put my tail between my legs, go in my room and cry, call a therapist, and um, because I realized just how much suffering. and how much I was trying to put on other people. Of course, they didn't want to take that on. They got to go to work in the morning, honey. Leave people alone, sweetie. That's, that's how I like. Eventually, I was like, oh, okay, my bad, y'all. I'm gonna go sit down. I'm gonna just go, like over there. So the first thing on our we're going to get into the process that Neptune kind of takes you through. So you have a dream, right? So I'm like, I'm going to be a star, right? Whatever in whatever way you can be a star telephone operator. We don't care. You want to be a star, and that's good. That's like from your inner child. That's the carrot on the stick. A lot of times we get reintroduced to our dreams during our healing process. We're like, oh, I remember now. I wanted to be, you know, a painter. And so then that that goal, that reason to live, that want to succeed is actually a carrot on the stick. Okay? It gives you guidance. Your guides start talking to you like, yeah, you want to be a painter? Turn right, turn left. Talk to this person, go to school, go get healing. You're stuck in your energy. You're not painting to your full capability. The ideas start coming to you about like what you could possibly do. Your third eye starts twinkling. Diddly, diddly, diddly dee. You start seeing numbers. You start realizing that, okay, I need to get in ritual here. I need to start taking care of myself. Um, making sure I'm in alignment. Ritual really have to do with making sure that your health is good. You start taking care of yourself. You start making sure that you're on the path to get that carrot on the stick. It's right there. You can see it. You can taste it. Come on, next page. I guess I have to tap it twice. So you might start off saying you're dreaming, you have a dream. While you're dreaming, you realize you're just washing dishes. And you're like, you dreaming, you're like, I want to be more than a dishwasher. And there's nothing wrong with being a dishwasher. There's a reason why I put that there, like dishwasher. That's a job that maybe no people don't feel like it's on. But without someone washing the dishes, you wouldn't have any clean plates. That's an important job. But a lot of times we demean ourselves and where we're at the moment. And we don't, and we want to hurry up and become a chef, the world's best chef. That's what that is, right? And that's where our downfall happens a lot of times, where we get into the sabotage and the suffering because we want to skip from point A and get to point Z without really honoring what it would take. Like, how someone says that while they had started their own business, it was humble beginnings. They didn't have any, but they learned how to do everything in their company because they had to do everything themselves. You know, um, a lot of times people have a very big idea and they end up getting discouraged on their way to getting to that because they're not honoring where they're at and who they are today. There's no shame in being where you're at right now. Where you're at right now is amazing. Be the best damn dishwasher, wherever it is wherever it is that you are at that you possibly can be, and you will be rewarded from spirit. Wash those dishes like you're washing dishes for your heavenly host. And that is how you stay on the step ladder, the straight and narrow path. Have you seen those people that you seem like they don't skip a beat? They go from success to success. Those people have that attitude. If you read the parable of Joseph, the story of Joseph, he was that way. I encourage you to read. I love that story. I love that story. Joseph in a coat of many colors, where he had a dream that his brother was going to bow down to him. He was a little kid and he told his brothers this, and he was actually his father's favorite. His father gave him a coat of many colors. That day, that same day, his brothers dug a ditch for him and left him to die in it. He was found by a farmer or a shepherd or something like that, and he began to help herding sheep or whatever. And then he goes from like one form of low level of work to the other, but he gives it his all and he rises in the community more and more each time to the point where he becomes a vizier, an advisor to the king, to the pharaoh actually. And his brothers, his family, his community ends up, his small town ends up in a war torn situation. And he is in a position to save his family. And when they come into the Pharaoh's courts, because they were summoned by the vizier, they see Joseph standing there and they have to bow down to him. His dream came true. But it's because he had integrity like none other. That's why I love that. I love integrity. Integrity is everything. So like when you are doing your ritual and stuff, it's the ritual. The ritual is in everything you do. It's not in just the big thing. It's in the little thing. So most people don't stay on that straight and narrow path to success. Okay. Most people go into the forest, honey, because because they want another way, and they end up encountering their shadow and sabotaging themselves and facing suffering because you end up facing yourself when you actually ask to go for your dreams. Your dreams are a transformational tool. That's what the carrot on the stick. Your dreams are used as a transformational tool to ascend by the universe. Every sign of abundance, like the Sri Yantra, meditate or chanting with the goddess Lakshmi, is really a symbol of ascension, abundance, ascension. The same thing, reward or penitence for having integrity. So when you go through those suffering times, how you get out of it, divine intervention. This is where you start asking your guides and stuff for help. You end up at the crossroads with the devil and the angel on your shoulder. Who you want to serve, who you loving, who you going to be hugging, right? You got to figure all that out. Within this process, a lot of us have to learn how to give up our old habits, patterns, like I was saying before. I had to give up my projections. You end up in a bad mood. Oh man, I'm going through another round. I've been going through another round of transformation for a long time now. And anytime I have to give up parts of my ego that I'm attached to, I'm in a bad mood, honey. Stay out of my way. But you end up going through the healing process and healing that broken heart that we saw by self knowledge. That's the caterpillar stage. You learn about yourself. That's why you're into astrology. You're really learning about yourself. Some people think that knowledge is the end all be all. They read 1,029,000 books and they think they are the most enlightened person in the world, but it's really your inner transformation. You cannot read not now one book. And if you transmute your energy, you are smarter than the person that has read a million books, but that person will still find a way to argue you down to the ground because they would like for you to know how much they know. But who cares? It's about your inner integration, your butterfly coming out party, you becoming. It's about you experiencing living your life, how you actually want to live. Pisces energy is really about learning your lessons. That's success to the spirit world that you know. Did you learn your lesson from all of that fogginess? Are you out the fog? Have you learned Neptune connected to Libra to vet people? Oh, okay, good. You have earned success. You may not have the end result that you want yet, but you'll get it. You'll get it. Keep on, keep going. You'll become in alignment with that true love. True love, like I was saying, really is a creative aspect of the inner child to where you find that thing that makes you, I was going to say wet, moist. love, feel love. Okay, that I use that picture of alignment, but it could be true love for your passions in other areas besides relationships. Okay, everybody ain't here to be, in relationship all the time. And you start seeing who you actually are. I am made in the image of my creator, of Yahweh, of Elohim. I am. And you start getting more into your past lives. And when you become in alignment, you meet up with your soul tribe for real, for real. Like what cult you from, you know, what bruja you read, what church was you from in ancient past. You'll start coming into connection with those things, and it'll feel so inspirational. You'll be on such a high in your ascension process. You're ascending. You're going up the ladder. You're finding who you really are. You're getting better. This process is about being able to be responsible for yourself, for the people around you, for this world. You get the more loving you are, the more reward you get because you can handle it. Like everything around you just wants to be loved by you, right? If you don't learn your lessons, you just repeat them. Like if you don't learn your lessons this lifetime in general, you just reincarnate, honey. No biggie. Keeps going around and around and around. There's lessons here of forgiveness. You have to forgive. There's lessons here of surrendering to the mother, the primitive, surrendering to the laws of the universe. There's laws here we have to abide by. One of them is the law of forgiveness. If you want to be forgiven, you forgive. Sacrifice, chanting, yoga, doing daily ritual is a sacrifice every day, not just when you want something and not just to look cool on Instagram, but make it a part of your life. The downfalls, the pitfalls in Neptune, escapism, homelessness, feeling orphaned, escaping in your mind. I mean, daydream, spaz, like mood, like wanting to not be here, not wanting to be present, addictions, okay, brainwashed. A lot of people have to de-brainwash themselves from past religious abuse or brainwashing in family systems, even. Some people have actually been in cults, you know, you have to undo that. The criticism, that's that Neptune and Neptune connected to Capricorn or Virgo, you're cutting yourself down, not healthy, not good. How you treat yourself also accuse karma as well. You have to be good, kind to yourself. The brainwashing energy would be with Neptune connected to Mercury, um, and Pluto, and Uranus too. Okay, so here are some of the higher expressions of spirit: singing, dancing, writing, or scribing. You are a warrior, the protector of the planet, an actress, a high priest or high priestess, a painter. Some people are here to be a great mom or father. And ultimately, excuse me, have not drank one sip of water, and I've been sitting here running my mouth. It's about breaking chains, breaking cycles, breaking ancestral yokes. If you have energies in your 12th house connected to Pisces, those are usually um, ancest- ancestral wounds that you are here to break that cycle. So, a little bit of a story time, a little bit more. I had to cut off my whole family. Like, girl, guys, I had to cut off my whole entire, not because I don't love them, but it's that they're not loving. I deserve love. I deserve peace. There's too much gossiping. They're not going to change just because I want peace and love and harmony and kindness. It's none of their business really what I need and what I want. If they're not willing to change for themselves, it ain't gonna be no change. So I have to let them go. And a lot of people are in that situation where, and when I'm making that decision, has made me grumpy, but I'm getting better and better every day. It's been a time coming. Some people are like, oh, you don't mean it. And see, that's the problem. You guys don't think I mean it. And I don't know if it's forever ever, but it's just kind of like you guys need to understand how much I need peace. I can't handle it. I don't allow it. I don't allow all that drama and all this suffering. I'm not backbiting. I'm not two-faced. Okay? I don't want to participate in any of it. I'm not in competition with you. You're my sister, you're my brother, you're my mama. I want you to be happy. I want you to succeed. And I also want people in my life that want that. So I'm using my rights and the law of resonance to make a change in my life. And everybody has that right as well. It comes with at a price though. Peace, you have to fight for it. You have to stand up for what you believe. You have to use your voice. You have to vet all those things that Neptune feels like you shouldn't have to do. I shouldn't have to do that. The world should just be peaceful. I shouldn't have to ask someone who they are, ask somebody for their social security number and look them up, look up their public records and look up their police documents. People should just be honest. Okay. Well, if you keep living that way, Neptunian girl or boy, you are going to get mollywopped, and people are going to run over you, destroy everything you've been trying to build, and something worse is going to happen to you than just being, you know, it sucks to be alone and broke, alone and homeless, alone and brokenhearted. There's worse things than being alone. Neptune energy is always trying to avoid I'm alone. Oh, it's okay. Use that energy, use that aloneness to get your rituals gained. Spend a lot of time with spirit and have some artist dates. Get to know yourself. If you're that concerned with connecting with things on the outside world, you're afraid to go within. Figure out why you're afraid to go within. Okay? Once you conquer your inner world, then the outside world will be nothing, nada. I'm silly. Seriously though, like because really all of those issues are that you're having with people are coming from within you. You're the immature one that you're trying to get, you know, Neptune and what connected to Pluto or Scorpio. Like, ugh, everybody's so full of drama. I know you ain't talking, honey. Like the simple when we're talking that way, if you find yourself talking like that, like ugh, people like that, I I'm giving that in some way, shape, form. It can even be like with Neptune and Mars. Neptune and Mars people be like, I'm not angry. I never get mad. So people are acting out the anger that you're not showing. You leave people no choice. It's the passive aggressive. That's what everybody is like. It's like, oh, it's the biting sarcasm for me. It's the, mumbling under your voice. It's like just because you don't outwardly express it don't mean it's not there. And that's another issue with Neptune energy. The fog is actually a lot of times you think because you're holding something in that it has no effect on your life. Oh, yeah, that is the furthest thing from the truth. You might as well just say it. And so in trauma healing with me, I don't make anybody do anything, but I coerce. I'm like, speak it. I hate my mom. Okay, let's go. Good. Now we can get to what else is underneath that. Why do you hate your mom? Say it. You know, let's say it. Let's give it a voice. Let's give it expression. Let's stop pretending like we're perfect or whatever. Neptune energy, although it's very inspirational, like those cards, the singer, the dancer, but the artistry comes from the ugliness. It comes from the suffering. Okay, that's where the grit comes from. Don't nobody want to listen to a soul singer that ain't been through nothing. Don't nobody want to listen to that. I feel like that's why we have such a hard time, such a like a weird. I have a weird relationship with Beyonce. I'm like, who are you? Where have you? What have you been? She don't like to, even when she has been through something. Because I used to do this too. I used to have a best friend, right? And I will always tell her what I've been through after I figure everything out. I never let anyone see me actually like go through anything. I never let anybody see me cry. I will always just kind of like, maybe I would never really work anything out. I just didn't know how to share myself with people. So that gives you a feeling, other people are feeling like, who are you? I don't know you or whatever. And you also feel like nobody knows me. That's how I feel about Beyonce as a singer. Like, I don't know. She been out since, I don't know, and I still feel like I don't really know her as an artist. But like an artist that you actually connect to, because with Neptune energy, with our dreams and success of our dreams, making our dreams come true, we're looking for a connection. You want people to feel you. So you have to feel yourself first. You have to feel it. You have to feel yourself. You have to go into the forest. You have to find yourself, your inner child there, sitting there. What is she doing? What is he listening? What is he saying? What has he been trying to tell you forever? You know, what song has been trying to come out of you for a really long time? What have you been avoiding since the end of time or the beginning? But anyway, you can go to the website, go to my website, afairygoodlife.com, and download this oracle deck. All right. And also a Neptunian incense plate. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for joining me. Peace.